Yesterday we learned that anything that requires hashgacha, which is most things that can be mixed up, kosher and treif, if you don't have an actual mashgiach there, for instance, there's a non-Jew watching it, or somebody who's not Shomer Shabbos, so then it has to have two chasimas. That's what we learned yesterday. It has to have two ways of marking it, and you can two signatures of sorts that can't easily be disguised or faked. So they can't be they can't be fraud. So it means to say that you can go to a store of a place with beautiful hashgacha and they make wonderful chopped liver, but if they send it in a car, let's say, or a taxi with a B'chal Shabbos, so then it has to have two chasimas. Very common, by the way, with the kiddushes and the takeout. You got to know, like, not only who's making it and has hashgacha, but the delivery has to be with hashgacha. Also, and the hashgacha is, according to the Rav Shulchan Aruch I mentioned, if there's a chash here of deraisa, meat, chicken, something like that, you need two chasimas. If it's a chash d'Rabbanan, you need one chasima. For sure, you need one chasima. The Shulchan Aruch goes further and says that, let's say, in your own house, you have meat, chicken, fish, a lot of examples here, and you leave it in your house and you go out, and now you have a foreign worker in your house, and somebody who's a cook or a housekeeper or taking care of somebody, they're in your house, very, very common, and they're alone with your food. And so says the Shulchan Aruch, well, in that case also you have to have two chasimas on your food. So it means if you walk out of your house, all your food becomes treif if you walk out of your house. Unless, and the Shulchan Aruch gives the following ways to keep your food kosher. Number one, im hu yotzei v'nichnas, if you're a yotzei v'nichnas, so then it's okay. Let's start with the sentence earlier. Hameniach nachri bebeisai, uboy dvarim sheim huchlufu yesh b'hem afilu iser Torah, im hu yotzei v'nichnas, if he's a yotzei v'nichnas, okay. Meaning, if you're yotzei v'nichnas from your house, even though, let's say for a minute or a half hour or an hour, the non-Jew is alone with your chicken order, nevertheless it's okay. I just want to point out that, as has been pointed out to me over the years, that it doesn't say that you're a nichnas v'yotzei. It says you're a yotzei v'nichnas. The pshat and the mashgiach that requires yotzei v'nichnas is you're there, but you step out, as opposed to a nichnas v'yotzei, which you step in once in a while just to make sure your food is kosher. That's not what it is. The yotzei v'nichnas is meduyik. So if you're basically at home and you run out to here, you run out to there, so then it doesn't treif up your food, because then the foreign worker knows I can come home anytime and they're not going to go be machlef. I want to just add something before we go into details maybe tomorrow, because this is extremely important halacha. This halacha, as it works out of the Rishonim, has very little to do whether you trust the guy or you don't trust the guy, or whether this is really a good guy or not. It has nothing to do with it. It's Xeris Chachamim. It's a Xeris Chachamim. We don't start measuring that. If you have a muchzak and a mumcha watching your food, then it's kosher. If you don't, then it's either basar shenis alam and ayin, which is very chamor, or anything loses its hashgacha. So it's not about whether, well, I know this fellow well, I've been working with him for years. That's not the point. So you got to keep these halachas, and sometimes people have foreign workers in their house. They have to ask themselves a lot of questions about this, because what I see is it's lo pashut what people go. Another thing is, if you say I'm coming back soon, even if you're not yotzei v'nichnas, afilu shaz man rav, even if you're going to be away for quite a while, but you're not saying I'll be back at 5. Once you say, I'll be back, says the Shulchan Aruch, I'll be back at a certain time, so you're creating an open territory, and your food is not kosher. Included in this is like all kinds of other problems. We learned that you need hashgacha on silverware. Like, even if you'll say, well, I know my chicken, they're not going to use my chicken, they're vegetarian, but it's hard to know that they didn't bring in their own food and use your frying pan, or use your utensils, or use your Do something, wash milk, do milchiks and fleishiks together or something. All of that, it's not that they're bad people, that's not where their head is, right? Milchiks and fleishiks and separate things. So all of that would require hashgacha, and that hashgacha has to be yotzei v'nichnas, or even if it's not, or let's put it this way, or the yotzei v'nichnas can be for a long time, as long as there's not a particular time frame attached to it, and then it's all good. Why? Shu misyare b'chol shah lemar ata yavai v'yirenu. Avalim hoidia shadaita lishais. If he tells them I'm going to be away all day, I'll be back tomorrow. Aser. The whole thing is aser, and the chashinan shema hichlif. We're always worried about the shema hichlif. That's exeris chazal. A good and